Good morning. Welcome back. You're watching the broadcast. This is New Day Kenya. Of course, those are the proceedings of the impeachment of Governor Anne Waiguru at the Senate chaired by Kakamega County's Cleophas Malala and deputized by KANU-nominated Senator Abshiro Halaki, listening to the grounds of impeachment of the governor by the members of the County Assembly about a fortnight ago. And of course, her defense yesterday. The session, of course, lasted about 11 p.m. at night, and this is the second day. In about 8 days' time, the committee will be presenting a report at the floor of the Senate that will be subject to, again, further authentication in regard to the grounds for the impeachment of Governor Anne Waiguru. I'm joined by Victor Marende, commentator on politics and governance. Good morning, Victor. I appreciate your time. Thank you for coming. At the center is Edgar Koskei.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And Ben Kinuthia is a lawyer and commentator on governance and political issues. Good morning, Ben. Good morning. I appreciate your time. Before I get your thoughts on assessments and your thinking in regard to the Governor Anne Waiguru case, let's first of all take a look at the Star newspaper cartoon edition. And this is what was illustrated in today's edition. It's Anne Waiguru sneezing, and the season of sneezing impeachment is on. Now, the next casualty, or on the chopping board, appears to be Kitui County Governor Charity Kaluki Ngilu, who is set to be impeached by the County Assembly after that was communicated to the Speaker of Kitui County Assembly. And it appears to be the series of the continuing impeachment processes. And Isiolo County members of the County Assembly have also vowed to impeach Governor Mohammed Kuti over embezzlement of funds when the Senate committee went to visit in its preparation for the COVID-19 pandemic, the 300 minimum bed capacities that all counties are required to have in the country after President Uhuru Kenyatta did discharge about 5 billion Kenya shillings in an attempt to boost the county capacities to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, Mohammed Kuti, the governor, is a member of the committee that is leading the country in the fight against COVID-19 pandemic, and he, alongside Charity Ngilu, appear to be on the chopping board of the members of the County Assembly. Victor, if I may come to you, and there were questions as regards whether the Senate will be judicious enough in undertaking this mandate to look at the grounds of impeachment of Governor Anne Waiguru. But hearing what happened yesterday and what appears to be forthcoming as the Senate will be becoming a beehive of activity in looking at the grounds of impeachment, of course, we expect more to come in its way. Is this dire situation attributable to mismanagement and embezzling of county funds, or mere county politics at the expense of taking advantage of the constitutional power given to them or accorded to them? That's the members of the County Assembly.
Now, first of all, Ayub, last week when we spoke here, I spoke in favor of a committee. And I had my reasons for speaking.
And that was already decided, 11-member committee.
No, I don't know whether
it was already set alone by the Senate.
That is why I said I spoke in favor of it before.
Okay.
And I was so sure that a committee being a quasi-judicial process, I would be able to see issues being canvassed. And yesterday, I watched the presentations at the committee. And I'm confident that everyone is being given an opportunity to speak what they think and what they believe. Because I've seen witnesses coming, which would have not happened when it was a plenary. So I'm seeing a more elaborate process at the committee, and the undertakings there should be watched by everyone, the citizens of Kirinyaga and the country at wide, so that then we see that the 3 allegations that were laid against Governor Anne Waiguru are either validated or rejected. But then that aside, there is also a lot of politics that has come to play into the issue of the impeachment of Governor Anne Waiguru. And we are already seeing factions and sides being taken. So there is the side that believes Anne Waiguru is condemned and should go home. I don't know whether they lost the principle of innocence until proven guilty. And there is the side that believes Anne Waiguru should be given a chance.
Fair chance.
And then, no, not a fair hearing. There are those who believe that Anne Waiguru should be given a chance to complete the journey.
Be governed.
Including members of the ODM party?
I don't know. And there are those who believe that a fair process should be given by the quasi-judicial committee that was set.
11-member committee.
So I'm for the third option. A fair hearing should be given. The people of Kirinyaga should get justice, and at the same time, Governor Anne Waiguru should get justice.
Okay.
Devoid of the politics that are playing.
Okay, of course,
Then,
that notwithstanding what happened at the
on that
Senate.
cartoon edition, it is so unfortunate. It is so unfortunate that I would have to say it. But then these impeachments seem so targeted. and I still maintain MCS should stop being rogue. And when I talk about MCS being rogue, they are rogue on both sides. There are those who are rogue to the effect that the governors loot those county coffers dry, and they aid in the looting process.
Okay.
And there are those who are rogue to the effect that governors are functional and doing proper things, and they are paid, in quotes, to impeach these governors.
Okay.
Our MCS should stop being rogue. And this begs the question, as Raila Odinga stated in 2017, I think, that the bar for being a member of the county assembly should be raised.
Okay.
I still believe so.
Okay, you have raised a very pertinent issue, and we need to look at the flip end, the other side of the shilling here, in regard to whether at times you see a county where the AG, the Auditor General, raises queries as regards how the money is spent, but the county assembly appears to be not objective in terms of its oversight. And in the counties where the governor appears to be doing something and tightens the pilferage of resources, and where they are not, of course, gaining some access in terms of handling the county cash, then we are seeing these impeachments. We'll come to that end of the county assembly members. But Edgar, if I may come to you,
yes.
The custodian of devolution or the county interest is the Senate.
Is the Senate, yes.
In hearing Governor Waiguru's impeachment,
yes.
how does it carry along the cardinal principle of fair hearing, justice, and ensuring that they look deep into the grounds of impeachment and see whether this meets the constitutional threshold?
First and foremost, let me thank you for having me on set. The Constitution protects the country through the Senate. And what we are hearing is what he said, it's a a judicial process. If you watch keenly what is happening in the Senate right now, they are presenting the facts of the case, whether the governor is culpable in terms of procurement process. Because I've been hearing a company known as Velocity being mentioned very many times. Yeah, you know. So the Senate, being a guard to the Kenyan people, will have to play its role. I would want Waiguru to be given time. I don't want us to condemn Waiguru. I would want her to be given time to defend herself. And if those allegations are small, then let's get Waiguru back to her seat her governor's seat. So let's wait for the process to go.
Okay.
And I would want to urge the Senate to give us a fair judgment on the same. But also, politics will play its role in
of course,
as usual.
And
as usual.
And of course, Anne Mombe,
yes,
coming from the House of Mombe,
yes,
which is of course a political house, of course.
Yes,
We'll come to that aspect.
I like that. But
okay.
let me just finish it this way. There is the factor of where you stand. We have to speak like Kenyans. We have to talk like people who know what is happening in the country. There is where you stand, there is where he stands, and there is someone who is right and there is someone who is wrong politically. We are not going to see whether someone has stolen or not stolen. Are you with the president? Okay, yes, you're with the president. Are you on the other side, which is not of the president? Then it will determine whether you're guilty or not.
Okay, you'll be on the frying pan for that.
Oh, yes.
That's a very cheap mystery.
Okay, to be specific, what Edgar is saying is that if you are then BBA compliant,
yes, then
safe.
you're right.
We'll unpack that.
Sure.
We will unpack that, of course,
yes.
and generally the health of devolution in the country. Ben, good morning again.
Good morning to you.
And no doubt that the counties have become bastion of theft and pilferage of resources. But the main question now is how the Senate committee hearing the Waiguru matter shield itself or wrap itself in immunity from the extraneous political pressure from the outside. How?
Wonderful. You know, in my other life, I'm a motivational speaker.
Good to know that.
And when I speak, I tell them
motivated
that you need to have comfort in situations that are difficult. And I'm loving watching a governor whose impeachment motion is going on, playing solitaire. That's a wonderful thing, that he's gotten to a point when you are at peace with all the problems that are bedeviling your life, that you can play solitaire when people are determining how your life is going to be. Now, having said that, I would like to say this with your question about the Senate. First and foremost, how did we get here? We have people in the name of MCAs who, if an election was held today, I guess none of them would recover back their seat, speaking and saying they're representing the people of Kirinyaga. That's the biggest devil we have in this country. That we have people who, if an election was held today, they would not raise their hands and say, I'm ready to face Wananchi and prove that I'm actually speaking on their behalf, because they would not come back. Now, these are the people who are saying we are Saint MCAs, I am Saint so-and-so, and Waiguru is dirty, and for that reason I'm impeaching her, and I'm sending her to Senate. We also have senators who have very questionable character and very questionable allegations against them, determining the fate of Waiguru. I said on show here last week, the people who told us that Waititu is innocent are telling us Waiguru is guilty.
Yes.
And the people who told us the vice versa are on the other side of the coin. So it tells you that even this Senate process is unfair. Because if people who told us Waititu must go home are telling us that Waiguru must stay,
Okay.
and the people who told us the vice versa are on the opposite side of the coin, it tells you that this is a mere public relations exercise happening at Senate, meant to make sure that the law has been followed, in the fact that when a name is brought, Senate has to go through, listen to what is being submitted, and then make a decision. But this is a decision that has been made already, and we are just waiting to see the rubber stamp on the decision.
Okay, now let's also get deep into the discussion. Victor, if I may come to you. 2022 politics and succession, President Uhuru Kenyatta's succession, is definitely one that is enmeshed in the Waiguru impeachment process, which is ongoing at the moment. But ultimately, what will be the determinant factor is how the Senate will hear this matter and dispense justice either to the people of Kirinyaga County and the members of the County Assembly on one hand, and of course Governor Anne Waiguru and her support base on the other hand. But how does the Senate perhaps preserve its dignity as the house of wise leadership here, and perhaps ensure that the gains it made since the 2010 Constitution are not eroded, as is the case with Parliament, where there are allegations that are dotted in terms of members' conduct and how they have debated critical matters like the sugar debate and the fuel VAT in 2018.
Now, number one, what I like about these hearings are that they have been made public. So it is also in the court of public opinion to judge what is happening. So apart from the fact that we would really want to condemn or support them, we would support them based on what we see. And as I don't want to preempt, but then from what I saw, surely Anne Waiguru is not going anywhere. Yeah. From what I see on the presentations, I watched them yesterday, I've watched them this morning, and I can sincerely confess that if those were the allegations and those are the evidence that they have, then they don't qualify to send her home. But then that aside, I've heard Ben say that Anne Waiguru is at peace with herself. What else would you need if God is on your side? You know,
and the president.
No. Yeah. You know, in the Bible, a story is told when there was a storm in a boat and Jesus was sleeping. Then he had to be woken up just to be told that it is so stormy here. Please save us. Now, the understanding of that parable in the Bible was to tell us that when God is on your side, peace would reign despite the turmoil,
the challenges and the turmoil.
So these are difficult times presented, and Robert Schuller puts it right. Tough times do not last; only tough people do. So Anne Waiguru has faced difficult times, and there is the notion that ODM were the first to talk about the dirt on
NYS scandal
on Anne Waiguru. Yes, we did, and we would still maintain we will blue, and we believed then that she was guilty, but then in the presumption of innocence until proven guilty, she was taken to court, and she was cleared.
No, but then she visited Kibra. There was a by-election, and she supported Baba.
Before Kibra, the High Court did. Marende is right on this. Before Kibra, November 7th by-elections, which Imran Okoth, the ODM party candidate, ended up winning. Before Kibra in 2015, the High Court did quash the case against Anne Waiguru and 23 other officials, including the then Principal Secretary Peter Mangiti, who served at the Ministry of Devolution. However, the cleansing process came at the Kibra parliamentary by-elections?
Now, it wasn't a cleansing process. And I've heard this from different quarters. I've had the privilege to also sit with the Jubilee Secretary General, Raphael Tuju, because there have been allegations as to why he didn't punish those of the Jubilee side who supported the ODM candidate in Kibra, and why they didn't take it so seriously, and why now anyone opposing the Jubilee alliance is punished. And from his line of thought, I agreed with him that sincerely there is this political calmness that we didn't want to interfere with during the Kibra by-elections. And by all standards, that was an ODM seat. And they felt that in the brotherhood that had reigned between the president and the leader of opposition, it was just right for everyone to choose a side. And he was so honest that that is the same reason that made the president not to get himself into that politics. But that aside, I don't believe any cleansing has happened. In politics, people take sides, and sides change.
All right.
We have to accept that sides have changed. The political tectonics had to play a part when the handshake came.
Okay.
So there are those who are loyal to the principles of the president, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, and when he moves with them.
Okay.
There are those who are loyal to the principles of Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, and when he moves with them. Today, if Raila, for example, says the handshake is dangerous and can kill this country, I can confess, Victor Kothmarende, would not think twice about that decision.
Papa is right. It's as true as the gospel.
Exactly.
But nonetheless, even as we question, because there seems to be a camouflage of the political establishment in the country in regards to changing sides, flipping ends, but nonetheless, it doesn't stop, especially the media, from checking the governance model and asking questions where they need to be, because the Mwananchi is the constant factor in this equation. The variables are the politicians who often change sides.
Yes.
And we see that despite, of course, the wanting sort of ideologies, policies lacking in the country's political establishment. Coming to you mentioned the aspect about President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yes.
Well, Anne Waiguru in this case might be the queen that everybody's running to. She will be very decisive going forward to 2022 after the impeachment process. But she mentions adversely Dr. Karanja Kibicho, the Principal Secretary at the Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government.
Yes.
Do you think this is likely going to be also causing some storm up in the radar of leadership and the hierarchy in terms of the president, his interior and PS, Interior and Coordination of National Government, and generally the House of Mumbi politics in central Kenya?
Very true. That is now another factor, Abdi, you're bringing in. The factor of Karanja Kibicho in the wars of Anne Waiguru as a governor. Karanja Kibicho is interested in whatever is happening in Kirinyaga because it is believed that he has an interest after a Waiguru, or even he has an interest to wrestle this thing out of Waiguru's hand. And there are people who were saying that he might have had a hand in the impeachment process by allowing it to happen or to go on. But now the process is split between the president, Karanja Kibicho, and Waiguru. Now, people don't know where Karanja Kibicho is standing here because Karanja Kibicho and the president are on the same plane. So if they contradict each other, then it doesn't seem to come out nicely.
Are you sure they're on the same plane?
Wait a minute. That's my opinion. And
opinions
are very sacred. And that's his statement. The opinions are sacred. Now, Karanja Kibicho's presence in the whole matrix is the one even that confused many people. We knew that Waiguru was going to survive this. But the Kibicho factor is the one even which is trying to confuse me, but it's not confusing me much. I know Waiguru is coming back, but I know there is Karanja Kibicho's hand somewhere. It played out when there were issues about KCC.
And where?
That land.
Yes.
That land. Who calls the shots in Kirinyaga in terms of allocation of land and stuff? That is how it came out. But right now, Karanja Kibicho is silent. Interesting.
On the matter.
Interesting.
Yes, Ben, you have a point?
Yes. Awesome. I think we miss the point here. And I feel if there should ever be a referendum in this country, it should be about not making the governor less powerful, but making his hands a lot more off the county resources. Because I can tell you for free, if it gets to a point where governors are not directly in control of county resources, nobody will want to be governor in this country.
So it's all about resources.
Where the honey goes,
scrambling for
the
control
people
of the
flow.
money.
Yeah. So if you ask me what should happen now, it should be thinking about how can we have an executive office that is directly accountable to the office of the Auditor General in terms of county resources, so that the person who is directly controlling county resources is not a governor. I'm telling you, if you called that person a title like an MCA, that would be the seat that everybody would go for. I'm not saying that we shift this to the MCAs, but I'm saying we need to get to a point where the office of the governor is not as lucrative as it has always been. The other thing you were talking about, the Waiguru thing.
Yes.
And I need us Kenyans to understand, because I like talking to Kenyans. Being one of you, we need to agree. And I tell people, I wrote an article the other day and said, the people who took you there have left. It was Halwale who told us that Ruto is so corrupt, he's corrupt to the bone.
Yes,
Remos
choppers.
Kimunya.
And people followed him.
Kimunya must go.
People followed Halwale, the people who believed in Halwale.
We'll come to that.
And then he left.
Okay.
And he left people there saying Ruto is corrupt. Then there came Moses Kuria. Moses Kuria came and told people that Ruto is so corrupt. Then he left. The people he had taken to that side of believing that Ruto is corrupt were left there. And so on. There are so many politicians who have taken Kenyans to places. Which places they have left? I remember there was a time when people changed SIM cards in the name of resist. They even printed T-shirts in the name of resist.
And boycotted some
They were left with so much bile, hating Kikuyus and the president. And then the guys who took them there left. And those people, and so many people. So I tell Kenyans, please be very careful.
Okay.
The people who are taking you to some of these places have a habit of leaving those places without telling you that they are about to leave. And then you are left in a very awkward position because someone comes and tells you. Waiguru the other day was telling
Catherine
us.
Waiguru.
Yeah. She was telling us the president is corrupt. Ruto is going to be the Amasea. She's going to save. Then the people who loved Waiguru, some loved her, some had a crush
They're in
on
the
her.
Ruto end now.
Now they were left with Ruto's side and she
is
left. And now they are wondering, do we follow her or do we remain here? In fact, I see them online. So I tell people, please calculate your bile. The people who took you where you are left you there. It's a time you start thinking, I don't want to be swayed by emotions. I want to start moving on a matter of principle so that wherever I am, not because somebody took me there.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you so much. Let's now look at it from the other perspective still with regards to the impeachment processes and the concerns across our counties as to the preparedness level of the COVID-19 pandemic. And one that, again, has been of concern to the national government when it comes to the county administration's preparedness level in the fight against COVID-19 pandemic. And on the pages of the Daily Nation, this is what was covered. Counties raced to beat the 300-bed isolation centers deadline. And this was after meeting President Uhuru Kenyatta after he addressed the nation on a Saturday, then met them on a Wednesday the following week, where they discussed such important matters as pertain the preparedness level of the counties. And this, of course, involves a lot of cash, which is subject to the concerns now and grounds of impeachment, which are laid out by the county assembly members in Isiolo County of Mohammed Kuti, who interestingly is a member of the National COVID Task Force Committee and is on the verge of impeachment. Victor, if I may come to you on that, and then you look at now the wanting level of preparedness. This again now intertwines with what appears to be gross mismanagement of funds at the county's health is a devolved function, notwithstanding, of course, the sort of micromanagement by the national government, the scandal that involved 5 billion Kenya shillings 2015-16 financial year. But are we seeing perhaps the counties also becoming a hub for the embezzling of public funds, and that if they were to be put into effective use and maximized on, then today will be much better prepared at the county level than we are today for COVID-19 pandemic?
Now, before I just respond to that, there is something that
of course, you have to respond on the resist issue. Yes, go
not
ahead,
resist.
Okay.
I believe there is something that should not go unchallenged. That governors' hands should be off management of county funds. I believe it was a right move. And the appointing of someone to manage county funds on behalf of the county government is trying to say that we cannot have competent people in this country. Sincerely, as a country, we have enough of competent men and women who can be in those offices and manage those counties properly.
Like the guy managing Nairobi, he's doing very well.
So I believe, yes, I believe progressively.
Maybe because of military discipline.
Progressively, we need competence. We don't need to keep shifting goalposts from one position to the other. That one we will lose the focus as a country. So I believe the Chapter 6 of the Constitution should be adhered to. Now, principles that guide people in offices and principles of governance should be adhered to. And then we'll have good leaders and good management at county levels. That said and done, the preparedness of our counties to handle COVID-19 has been a question. And I've always said, no county and country was prepared to deal with COVID-19. I'm seeing countries building hospitals, state-of-art centers to deal with the coronavirus pandemic. And it convinces me that no country, leave alone the counties within our country, no country in the world was prepared to deal with this, not even the United States.
But we expect to have at least some level of preparedness in our countries.
So in the level of preparedness within our countries, the healthcare has been wanting.
At least much better than the isolation centers we have seen, which
Siaya has 10 beds and I don't know how many MCAs.
So that is why.
It's true, you have more MCAs than
all counties, I bet, have more MCAs than isolation centers.
Other than Nairobi.
The number is about 30,
no, Nairobi
is
Nairobi had very many national hospitals.
Yes, Nairobi is different.
So that is why I termed our MCAs rogue. Because health has been devolved since 2013. And this money has been embezzled by the subsequent governors and even governors in office at the behest of these MCAs. So when I termed these MCAs rogue, and I stated clearly, some watch county coffers being looted and they say nothing, and some, when the governors try to do something, they want tips, and when they don't get tips, they impeach the government. So it's a case of competence. And when we raise the bar for being an MCA higher, we need to also raise the integrity bar higher than we raise the academic qualifications. As to when we do that, I believe we also need to make the impeachment process of a governor within the county assemblies more constitutionally viable and complex.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of loopholes that today MCAs are going to impeach a governor then another 8 times because their allegations have not been confirmed yet, they are not merited. It's quite unfortunate. Okay. In the last term, and I would state this,
yes, briefly,
the governors, the MCAs within wanted to impeach Governor Kinuthia, professor. And we discussed this.
That was in 2014.
Yes. And you remember there was a lot of chisma that he must go and excitement. But then Kinuthia stated clearly to the people, through the people of Makueni, that today I tell you these MCAs are the problem. When you give me competent MCAs,
we can work together.
We will work together and you'll see.
And only one came back.
And one came back, and you can see the results. So when I say MCAs are rogue, they are rogue to the effect that even they don't audit development in this.
Yes, yes, Victor.
In support of he's thinking.
Yes,
now,
as he loads.
Yeah, as he's loading. Now, what I was trying to say, it's in support of what he said. My son is in class 7. We are doing maths with him. And at class 7, you don't do anything beyond 10 million. So class 8, you're not going to do maths beyond 10 million, not unless the guy is setting KCPE are not normal in their head. So now, somebody drops off at class 5, and that person becomes an MCA.
Exactly.
The best maths he ever did at class 5 was 1 million shillings. Na hiyo ni ile wanafanya mpaka wanaram kitabu properly.
At class 5 it is in hundreds of thousands.
Yes. Now that person becomes an MCA to a county that has been allocated 11 billion, 20 billion, 15 billion, and they're supposed to audit that county. So it tells you, before we even go far, I think someone needs, and I think I need to do this, someone needs to move to the High Court and say, wait a minute, we need to stop this nonsense. Because we can't have someone whose comprehension capacity was figures not beyond 500,000. He's being told that today they are auditing a governor
And you oversight.
who is a degree holder, and they are oversighting him
And is an economist.
on figures they have never seen in a class. So it's not possible.
Okay.
So we need to raise that bar, and it makes sense. Just ask, before we even go into this, if I was defending Waiguru, I would ask, out of the MCAs who sat in Kinuthia County, how many have been to Form 4? Because at least there they saw $1 billion in writing, if not practically. So those ones can at least talk of anything, any figure that is under $1 billion. But anybody coming here to talk of 5-6 billion has been stolen and has never sat in a class to know how $1 billion is written, that person should not be oversighted.
Yes, as you finish up, because we want to go to another important story. That
in as much as I agree with Ben, the work of auditing falls under the docket of the Auditor General. I agree with you fully. But I just want to say that the person auditing the county is the Auditor General and those people who have been given that mandate. Health has been
MCS oversight.
Oh, yes.
Oversight.
Okay.
I said I agree. $1 billion. It's never been mentioned anywhere before to him.
Okay.
He saw it in a newspaper.
It has 9
He has never seen it written.
9
so
zeros.
when you are discussing it, even at the county level. Now let's understand
That's
each
$1
other.
billion, yes.
When you're discussing it at the county level,
Yes.
you're showing someone who is 35 for
$1
the
billion.
first time that it's possible to have 9 and 9 zeros following it.
Yes.
Now that person is already confused.
Come on,
Yes,
come slowly. So I just want to say that I think 10 counties have beat the 300.
at least for now.
Yes. We should be more prepared than that. And we have, our counties have money. It is not the work of the national government to do that. So it depends also on the competency of the county governments, and for them to allocate resources and to see that the counties have maximum bed capacity. But I don't see us getting there.
Okay.
Because of how we run our politics.
Okay,
Yes.
and according to the Public Investments and Accounts Committee of the Senate, more than 80% of current and former governors are likely to end up in jail if the Auditor General's report
Actually, all of them
is implemented.
Well,
Thank you so much, gentlemen. We now turn our attention to the politics of the day on the front page of the Daily Nation. Here's what's coming up. There we go. Raila allies push him to run in 2022, and they say that Odinga should take advantage and maximize on the available void in the ruling Jubilee Party, and part of course, the handshake. And this is a story that is highlighted in the extended version on page 2 of the Daily Nation this Wednesday morning, day 24 of June 2020. Victor, if I may come to you, is 2022 Odinga's moment?
Now, Odinga has always told a story of a hyena who is walking, waiting for a man's hand to fall so that then he eats the hand. Now, he cannot be that hyena. We cannot wait for trouble in Jubilee so that we maximize. That has not been our character in ODM. ODM is a party that is guided on principles and on belief that as to when the right time comes, we will talk about 2022, and Raila Odinga would speak about 2022. And I've read the whole article. The allies that are being told, I don't know whether they were present when the allies told him, because they have stories of things that were said in public prior to this date. So I really don't want to sink myself into a headline that was seen to or was posted there to cause confusion on what is going on. And the intention of that headline is to ensure that we are confused and off what is happening right now. And I can tell you, whenever such headlines have always come, it has always worked to galvanize the ruling coalition. Galvanize them in the sense that they would think that our main intention is 2022, then they need to gang against our intentions to vie in 2022. Raila has made it clear more than 10 times that 2022 is off the ice right now. And our goal is to ensure that this country is sustained for the posterity. And that our main goal right now is to push all those agendas through the BBI.
Okay, and John Mbadi in that article did mention that the Kenyatta-Odinga bromance is more or less one that looks to secure, intends to secure stable country politically, socially, and economically, and that if need be, one can sacrifice for the other. in 2022. So in your regard, what do you think he means, President Uhuru Kenyatta supporting Odinga for the presidency?
No, if convenience dictates, and we are talking about convenience because right now we are not talking about 2022. When the time comes and convenience plays, we don't fear governing this country. Raila is a man who is hands-on.
Okay.
So when the time comes and the opportunity presents itself, the people of Kenya will speak, not allies in corridors.
Okay, and those allies are key, especially those quoted by the paper.
Allies are
Edwin
very key.
Sifuna, the Secretary General, Timothy
Murathe is an ally
Bosire,
of Kenyatta.
of course, looks after the party's money, and John Badi, of course, the chairperson of the ODM party. Edgar.
Yes, yes.
Since the handshake, the president has more or less told his deputy William Ruto, like him or lump him, Odinga is here to stay.
Yes.
Do we expect something of a shock in 2022 in coming up with a candidate who we didn't expect as part of the pledge he made in supporting Ruto for 10-year presidency between 2022 and 2032?
Well, this is my take, and it's purely my sacred opinion.
and of course, as the French philosopher,
Yes.
Voltaire did say
Yes.
that he might have the right to disagree with you, but
Well,
he will
yeah.
die to death
Oh, yes.
in defending your opinion.
Thank you.
Yes, go ahead,
You
please.
spoke on his behalf.
All right.
Now, Uhuru Kenyatta has interests beyond 2022. And that has been said by the allies of Uhuru Kenyatta. And we believe that Uhuru Kenyatta speaks through the allies. And we believe that this is just politics of testing the waters, whether the country will react this way or that way. We had promises for William Ruto for him being given the presidency or being supported to run for the presidency in 2022. Raila factor in the government complicates the succession politics of the Jubilee government. The presence of Raila brings confusion and stirs the waters. And such headlines, Raila allies push him to run in 2022, brings in also Uhuru Kenyatta as supporting Raila Odinga because he has interests coming forward. Right now, as he has said, it's all about 2022, and it's all about political succession. It's all about whatever is going to come, and I believe that Raila gives Uhuru a chance to come back, because you never know what these people talk about beyond. Sorry?
Come back in what capacity? Hinting at a constitutional change?
Yeah, of course. The BBI is coming. The storm is coming. And the Prime Minister's post might be still available. We don't know how it's going to happen. It might be still available.
Okay.
And Uhuru Kenyatta might come back. Might.
A governance model, you're hinting at perhaps looking at a change, and the president did hint at that during the Madaraka Day celebrations at State House, where he said it's a constitutional moment for Kenya, and he cited the likes of Jaramogi and
BBI
and Tom Mboya. And Ben Kinuthia, all plays out to be what appears the insecurity that was created by the Deputy President William Ruto's camp for the president in seeking some solace in Odinga's palms. But given what we are witnessing at the moment, will President Uhuru Kenyatta support his DP William Ruto?
Interesting. You see, it says Raila allies push him to run in 2022. You know, since COVID came, we've been running all over the place in the estates. So he should start running even now. There's nothing wrong with running. But if they mean running for the presidential seat, it is very boring to run without Raila on the ticket, if you ask me, because very many people will not vote. You know, we've seen in subsequent elections, Raila garners like very
6 million plus.
Yeah, very close to 50% of the votes cast. Maybe more, maybe less, depending on whether they're stealing or not. So all we need to say is we always want Raila on the ballot. It's in the best interest of this country to have Raila on the ballot, because he makes 50% of this country or thereabout to come out of their houses and vote. And so my encouragement would be let Raila vie, let him have a chance. Democracy is all about the best candidate and the person who will garner the highest number of votes. So in my opinion, I think Raila should
sarcastic
vie.
about the candidate.
And I think it's wrong for him to refuse to vie. It is wrong to even imagine an election without Raila.
Yeah, it's wrong.
So let us have him on the ballot. It is the only way to ensure that the whole country participates in an election.
You
know, we had a second election.
These are very dangerous.
No, okay. We had a second election. We had a second
election.
election where Raila did not participate. I can tell you it was not very interesting. It was very boring. So we want to always have an election where Raila is involved.
Will you support his candidature?
Well, that time will come. We'll decide depending on who is.
Okay.
No, it must be made clear that Raila is not a lifetime candidate. That must be clear. And when anyone is allowed to vie, it is their democratic rights to vie. Yes. But to allege that Raila is a lifetime candidate and an election without him on the ballot is boring, is absurd in its entirety. That stands out as demeaning the person of the Prime Minister.
No, and 6 million votes plus. He needs to be on the ballot.
No, please. And we must be honest. Raila has never said he wants to vie. It is the people
allies
who always say, come because we need you. So if you need him genuinely, then we support the genuine support. But from how you spoke, it was so sarcastic.
Because my vote is only one. Even if I give it to him, he has another 6 million.
You seem not to support his candidature, which is your right anyway. But then for now, please, we are not in the 2022 race for presidency, because that is what the headline intended. And that we are dealing with serious matters at the African Union to deal with infrastructure, and we are dealing with unity in this country and corruption. We are dealing with a lot of issues, a whole 9 of them, plus any that might arise, like coronavirus rose, like the locusts came, like the droughts have always come. So we are dealing with a whole myriad of issues.
BBI.
And BBI is inclusive of the 9. And we have African issues to deal with. And for just so that you know, we also played a serious role in ensuring that Kenya sits at the United Nations Security Council, and now the country is represented there. And we are still adding more responsibilities to Raila. So right now, between now and 2022, we have a lot on the plate not to think about 2022. Okay,
gentlemen. Now, let's finish up with this. And it's very interesting cartoon on the Daily Nation. Let's have that up on air. And there we go. Kinuthia must go was the clarion call at one point from the former Kakamega Senator and Ikolomali Member of Parliament, Dr. Bone Halwale. And you can see President Uhuru Kenyatta now cleansing, taking off the allegations made at the time when Kinuthia was the finance minister during the Grand Coalition government, of course, which he came to succeed, now appearing to be taking off the dust of, or the ghosts of the corruption allegations in the cell of the Grand Regency Hotel, then now Waiguru Regency, to the then Libyan government. And you can see how this has brought about the integrity issue. And the caption there is, and come back bigger, better, and brighter. Edgar.
Yes.
Kenyans have been very cynical about the changes made at the bicameral level of parliament, and to be specific, Amos Kinuthia to be the next majority leader, owing to what he vowed, what he went through, and the storm that he managed to walk through. There appears to be the war on corruption. Why do you think he was the designated choice for the president, even when there was a dark cloud hanging over his head?
Now, the question of Amos Kinuthia has brought into question party loyalty or party chairmanship loyalty vis-a-vis being independent of thought. It has brought into question not the corruption issues, but it has now asked us to define whether to be loyal to be loyal to the party or to be loyal to the people of Kenya. You see, Amos Kinuthia is loyal to the president and is loyal to the leader of Jubilee Party. All those other people who are removed are loyal to someone else. They don't want to mention who.
Who is that someone else?
They don't want to mention who.
In your view?
Yesterday I was watching. People ran away from mentioning William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta. They just want to play with the facts, and mentioning about party loyalty and yeah. So, but these are the factions. The matrix here is all about William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta. It's all about loyalty to who. So do not tell me that Amos Kinuthia has been brought because of 1, 2, 3 to fight corruption and to lead this and to lead this. It is all about the party loyalty. And I was asking myself, is it right? Is it right for us to be pushed to be loyal to a party leader? Is it right? But there was an answer. Yes, it is right.
But between the party, between the party leader, let's have this discussion because it's a concern in terms of our democracy and the health of the Kenyan democracy. Between the party leader and the people, to who does a politician A, politician B or Z need to be loyal to?
Now, Sheikh, the righteous way to do things is that someone should be loyal to you and me as Mwananchi.
Okay.
You know.
Now, I think a soundbite we need to listen to. Charles, do we have the Junaid Mohammed soundbite when he yesterday, of course, was bidding the majority leader, ex-majority leader, Adan Duale. That is farewell, and he spoke at the floor of the of House. Do we have that bite? Yes, we'll be getting that bite shortly, and we'll of course be discussing around that as the subject matter, because there appears to be a concern as to who you need to pay loyalty to or allegiance to.
I wanted to bring another
Go ahead as we look for that bite.
Another word, sycophancy. There is loyalty, there is sycophancy, and there is now belonging to a party and having a freedom of thought and expression. The boundaries of expressing yourself within a political party can be questioned. You can't just express yourself and express yourself.
Okay.
You see,
so all these changes
it's all confused. It's confusion.
Okay. According to Edgar Koskei, all these changes made at the bicameral level simply because the people who have been plucked out of the planned positions never paid allegiance to the head of state and the party leader.
Maybe sycophancy.
Yes, sycophancy is what's needed.
We'll
come to that sound.
Let's understand each other. And this is something that Wanjiku understands very well. Because this is probably a portrait they still have. You know, some hang a calendar in their houses. The bulk of these people, even especially from central Kenya that you see, who are elected members of parliament today, when they were vying for MP, took their own portrait, put on a campaign poster, and put the photo of the president. It was the only way for them to get votes. There is no place where Uhuru went to look for votes, and then he put his photo and then the constituents MP there. That did not happen. But the people who were vying for MP all put the president's photo because they were riding on him. But many people who vied in Nyanza, you would rather even forget to put your own photo, but you put Raila's photo. They had to do that because they were riding on him to become what they became. Now, once they have gotten there, they are busy insulting the persons whose photo they put there and saying he's inconsequential in Central Province. If Uhuru was inconsequential in Central Province, why did they put the photo of any other person other than Uhuru Kenyatta?
Thank you.
So all we are trying to say, if these people think that they are as big and as popular as they are and they can do whatever they want, and by the way, there's a lot of hunger happening in this country. And I need to mention to you something. Your person, DP Ruto, because it's good for us to speak, is only donating food in Central Province. Exactly. He's not interested even in his own people. And show me a photo of him donating food in Eldoret. He's donating only in Central Province.
And people are dying in Baringo.
And people are dying in Baringo. All I'm trying to tell you is this. There's a huge problem within Tangatanga because Tangatanga thinks for you to become president, you must have the Central Province vote. All I'm telling you is what needed to happen is in a Mwananchi simple way. I'm trying to break it down in a way that nobody will ever break it down for you, that they used the president's photo to get the seats they have. Anybody who used Raila's photo to become what they are today should never stand up and insult Raila.
Okay, but can have differences. We are in a democracy. You can't disagree with your party.
Were they having differences when they were using? In fact, they were begging him to use his photo.
Is different from insulting.
Yes.
And there is a reason why he chose the word insulting.
Okay. Yes.
And that brings me to a speech. If only that I didn't know this would come earlier.
Yes.
There is a speech that Raila made in Garissa town.
That was in 2017.
Yes. At the verge of the campaigns, when Eden Duale was always running around and abusing him.
Duale. This is the way he says it. Duale.
And he made it clear, and I would want to use his exact words, that he picked Duale from a takataka in Mombasa and brought him to...
Those are your words.
Those are his words in that video.
And your words now on the show.
Yes.
Yes.
And he said that he brought him to Garissa and used his own money to ensure that he was elected. That the same person is the one who walks on podiums and insults him.
Okay.
And that he left his fate to God. We've seen his fate. Now, even the Bible begs of loyalty. To whom much is given, much is expected from him.
But we are in a democracy. You have cited the Bible of good, and we have different religions, and unfortunately, Kenya is not a theocracy. Kenya is a secular state. However, nonetheless, though, that we need to agree that even as you pay allegiance to the party that brought you or sponsored you to parliament, differences can be there, and you cannot be plucked out from your position or weeded out at the expense of what you have expressed yourself upon, for instance, a national deal.
Let me tell you about this.
I'll come to you. Let's just listen to Junaid Mohammed, who yesterday spoke at the floor of parliament.
Politics is very difficult, majority leader. And when the going gets tough, don't die. Remain strong. Don't say, I would rather die than resign.
I went to this specific place he was talking about where he said that we need to follow. I'll follow the party leader of the ODM party like cows or cow. And he said that now that you have exited or you have been plucked out, then I need to even follow him more. That's my concern. So no, in this case, even as we say that the party that sponsored you, even under the Political Parties Act, is what you need to push its agenda for in terms of parliamentary initiatives. How do we, where do we draw the line between paying allegiance to the party leader and the people who sponsored you?
There is a line of thought that
I'll explain.
I'll explain. Let me just finish, Ben.
Yes, this is
now.
Yes, Victor.
The line is there, and however much you want to paint it as very vague, as a line drawn in water, I believe there is a difference between supporting the party that supported you to parliament and supporting the people who voted you into the National Assembly. Now, the same people who supported you are the same people who support the party. You know, parties are not founded on stone. Parties have members. And when we read the guidelines offered by the Political Parties Act 2010, it is very clear on how you become a member of parliament and how you need to behave within that particular party. And that when you are seen not to believe in that party, the party can take actions against you so that you cease being a member of that particular political party. So we have to agree that you are being a member of parliament is subject to you being a member of a party. And that as you serve as a member of a party, a party has ideologies that made you be elected within that particular party. If you so be it believe that you no longer believe in those ideologies, the only reasonable and sensible thing is to resign from that political party. If you can't resign, you have to be loyal and pay your allegiance to that political party for your times and days within that particular
I'll come to you, Ben, and Edgar. But let me just query you on one matter then. While ideologies and policies do underpin how a party looks like, how it goes forward in terms of its entrenchment in any given democracy, what if then that certain bill comes to the floor of the House? For instance, VAT Bill 2018, the sugar report. And this is a matter of national interest. The Common Monarchy wants a conclusive outcome from the parliamentary respective committees that were tasked to look into these two important initiatives. And then you have a differing opinion from what your party wants or the voting pattern of your party. Why would a party member be disciplined based on the advocacy for what affects the Common Monarchy, me, you, and millions of Kenyans?
Difficult times call for difficult decisions. And leaders are born in crisis. I can confidently tell you that a leader is a person who can take an unpopular decision at times when that decision needs to be unpopular, but then it serves the interest of the people.
But why will someone be disciplined based on voting for a national matter that affects millions of Kenyans, not even the constituency he does represent?
No one was punished for such kind of reports.
Of course, let me just give you an example. John Buddy talked about the issue that regarded the currency, the new printed currency in 2019. He was speaking during a ceremony in Nyanza, and then he said
he opposed
that. Upon reaching Nairobi on Monday, the following 48 hours later, he said our party position is supporting the Central Bank of Kenya on the currency issue. I mean, that's the line that I just want to bring in. Where is the independence of a member in party? Not of course with regard, not of course forgetting about policies and ideologies, but his independence on a national matter that not only affects his constituency he does represent in parliament, but a national issue like the sugar report, the VAT bill we saw, the acrimonious sitting of the National Assembly.
Are you on just the matter of currency? John Mbadi made these sentiments in Awendo, in Migori, and I was present at that gathering. And he said that constitutionally, the portrait of a president should not
be on the currency.
Be on the currency. As an individual, and he made it clear that I'm speaking as John Mbadi, not as the chairman of the Orange Democratic Movement. Now, upon consultations and discussions within the party, and when this was canvassed, it was agreed that this was not a portrait, and that it by all standards,
changed position.
It changed position. No, he stood for the position of the party, and we have to agree. Okay. I've always stated here, there is, and even today, there is Victor Marende who is Victor Marende. There is Victor Marende, the member of ODM. So I might speak as Victor Marende, and there is a time that I speak as a member of the party. So it has to be known that there are positions that you take based on the position you stand at that particular moment.
All the same, though, if you were to go against that, he will face disciplinary committee. Yes, Ben, yes.
I have a way.
I'll come and finish.
I have a way of simplifying this. Very easy. Upon these people being elected, there was a gathering at State House. And State House decided, so-and-so, you're the speaker. So-and-so, you're getting this. So-and-so, you're getting this. In fact, the seat of Aden Duale was decided.
Of course, just an appointment. The way it happened is the way he exited.
What he should have done, what he should have done is to remember that that seat he was given. He did not even like merit it in parliament or anything.
Of course,
after all, if you look at the member of parliaments, there are people like in Embakasi who get hundreds of thousands of votes compared to what Duale got in his constituency in Garissa. So it was not that he merited that position. It was given to him.
Okay.
So what he should have done is when it gets to the point when the party says we need that seat, don't put the party through the pain of having to arrange a meeting at KICC and there's COVID. Just simply resign. You know, the bulk of these people are taking us through to hell for nothing.
No, but even
look
when
at Kipchumba Murkomen.
The constitution in Article 108 is very clear that a majority leader must be elected through a PG.
I agree.
So one would have not been appointed. That meeting would have still been held.
But Kipchumba Murkomen was also appointed the same.
And I respect Duale for one reason. He did contest. Sincerely, he has acted in the most mature way that a man can be. Even if you hear his concession speech in Parliament yesterday, I don't know whether it was a concession speech or a resignation speech or just I'm going home, but it was mature.
It was nimekubali matokeo.
Yes, he didn't show bitterness as
also what I'm trying to say is if a party gives you a privilege, because this is a privilege, there are so many other people who are equally qualified in that parliament. There comes a time when you realize that the party has got the powers to take away that privilege and not to think that a privilege is a right, which is what Kipchumba Murkomen turned into. He started thinking that the privilege he had been given by the party was a right to him. It was not a right. There are so many other people from Rift Valley who are qualified who would have been given that position anyway. So now, having said that, I think we also need to see that, as he was saying, that once you make a decision, that decision, sometimes you can speak as an individual, and there are times when you have to speak as the position.
Yes, as we finish up.
Ayub, the political parties were made public entities when they decided to fund the political parties from the public coffers.
Of course, yeah.
Now,
me and you pay them.
Yes. Now, you know, these ones are not. They don't belong to individuals. That's why they wanted to remove the political parties from the hands of the individuals who are going to run the political parties. Number two, political parties are funded by the members. They are funded by the contributions of the members. So the only thing that you can do to the members is to give them a voice, to speak their thinking, and to chart their direction. I think that is how we can balance it. And lastly, I want to say this. There is a thin line between sycophancy and and party loyalty.
Okay.
Very thin, and we can't explain it here. And I see the ODM colleague and the Kieleweke
I'm not
friend of mine
And Tanga.
trying to explain to us.
Okay.
This is serious.
Let me just say something. You know, I've heard him say that members need to take part.
Yes, as we finish it briefly.
As I finish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, number one, members in a political party participate through delegates. You know, parties have structures. So you elect delegates within this party. Then this party represents your views. If all members were to be allowed to come to Nairobi and vent, it would be a noise making in town. So definitely we can't allow noise pollution in Nairobi. And we welcome delegates to always speak on behalf of members. And finally, there is a question that was asked that has not been talked about. The question of Amos Kimunya. I didn't get an opportunity to talk about it. Now, I would only respond in Machiavelli's words. Power is fluid and fickle. Ayub, I'm responding to the
cartoon edition. Okay.
Machiavelli said, power is fluid and fickle. So everyone who goes into a position must know that one day it will be fluid. It will flow. And when it flows, flow with it. And that is why I always say, ODM is an orange democratic movement. It moves.
Okay.
When it moves from a position, move with it.
There is an aspect of fluidity.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a liquid.
Yeah, power is
so
fluid.
Viscosity.
Yes,
the
power is
ability to
fluid.
move.
Yes.
Okay.
So you have to move.
Okay, thank you so much, gentlemen. Let's have an international analysis of the developments globally. Here is what we have, and in the United States of America, Dr. Anthony Fauci yesterday appeared before lawmakers where he shedded light on the developments in the United States of America, where he said that we are on the process of ensuring that America isn't made vulnerable to the pandemic, where he said that some states which have reopened across the United States of America have seen cases cropping up, thus increasing the rate of infection in the United States of America. Of course, it is #1 globally, followed by Brazil and India in that order. And on the next item on the international pages, this is Phoenix in Arizona, where Donald Trump addressed a rally yesterday on Tuesday, just after what appeared to have been a shortfall in the expected numbers of the Tulsa rally in Oklahoma. And he came to the White House, of course, fuming in regards to a third empty venue and the questionable, of course, aspect of why he chose Oklahoma in the first place. But this was Phoenix in Arizona, where he told members of the Republican Party that his presidential re-election bid in November 2020 will be of utmost importance. He talked about the economy and the pandemic, but he never used nice words towards the Kung Fu, what he said, virus of China, and even calling on doctors to stop testing in the United States of America, faulted, of course, for doing so. But the polls are against him, 41% now, the same time when the former President George H. Senior Bush equally polled at 41%. The two ended up losing the elections. And at this time, President Barack Obama and Bill Clinton polled at 53% and 47% respectively. Of course, they won their elections alongside the other United States of American presidents. On the last item, we finish up on Al Jazeera. This is in North Korea, where the Kim Jong-un government is putting on hold what it says was a military action against South Korea. Not forgetting, of course, it's an ally of the United States of America, and the annual military drills by America and South Korea often intensifies relations between South Korea and North Korea. The two countries will be marking 70 years since the end of the Korean Peninsula War in 1950 and 1953, which ended the two sides war and the rivalry between Kim Jong-un government and then, of course, South Korea, where President Moon Jae-in is now seeking some form of diplomacy in settling what appears to be an intense moment on the Korean Peninsula. That's where we come to a close here on the broadcast, and we'll see you tomorrow. My colleague Winnie Lubembe will be here tomorrow morning to talk about sexual harassment, and that will be a topic that, of course, the society needs to discuss at this moment. Paramount significance and of importance in terms of course, getting an analysis of that at a time when we are fighting the pandemic, and many of us are confined in our homes, to our compounds, and there appears to be an upsurge in the number of cases in regards, of course, sexual violence and the domestic violence cases across the country and globally, which has been a phenomenon, an underpinning factor since when countries were locked up due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Victor, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Edgar. Thank you so much, Ben. And we'll see you tomorrow at the same time when you will be here. Yes.